Hi, this is Greg Forstoffel, and this is the third in my video series analyzing the performance of United Bank and Trust, or otherwise known as United Bancorp, during 2009, and taking a look at 2010 and seeing where they might be at the end of the year. In this video, I'm going to talk about loan loss expense, try to figure out where that might be during the year. Then based on loan loss expense, what is that going to do to net income this year, and try to predict a net income. And then finally, after we've done predicted a net income, what's that going to do to the year-end balance sheet? And that's what we'll do in this video. Okay, let's first talk about loan loss expense. I started talking about this yesterday, but loan loss expense is the single largest expense over which management has control. And this expense is accrued prior to the loan actually going bad, meaning that the bank could still get some kind of recovery from the loss eventually. The main culprit in this situation is a segment known as construction and land development. Last year, this segment was a source of $14.4 million of the $25.8 million loan loss expense. And then the loan loss expense for quarter one was $4.8 million. And so the big question is, what's it going to be for the rest of the year? Let's take a look and I'll show you what I think. As I mentioned yesterday, I have three estimates of what the 2010 loan loss expense is going to be. The first estimate is $19.2 million, and that estimate is simply the $4.8 million, which they took in quarter one. Multiply that by 4 quarters, which comes out to the $19.2 million. So that's estimate number one, and that's probably the most conservative. Estimate number two takes a little explaining. In the notes, in quarter one loan loss allowance, from the statements that came out in early April, they have a loan loss allowance on the balance sheet of $21.4 million. According to the statements, non-performing loans is $33.5 million. Now, to me, that implies a potential additional $12.1 million loan loss that is possible for 2010. So that would mean that if you take the first quarter loan loss, $4.8 million, and you add the potential $12.1 million, that comes up to $16.9 million, which is the second estimate of what the loan loss expense could be in 2010. Now, estimate number three is similar to estimate number two, except what I would guess is that instead of the 12.1 being the loan loss potential, additional loan loss potential, maybe only half of that is going to be potential loan loss expense, because the other half could be collateralized by other assets that the borrowers might have. So in that case, for the entire year, the loan loss would be the $4.8 million in quarter one plus $6 million, which is half of the $12.1 million, to make a total loan loss expense in the year of 10.8, almost $11 million. So that's three estimates of loan loss expense that is potential in for the bank this year. So it's a high expense of basically $19.2 million, or low potential expense of almost $11 million. Now, people might be critical. That's a wide range. You don't know, but the bank has basically said they don't do a very good job of estimating loan loss expense either. So to me, this is as reasonable an estimate as anything else. And I'm going to choose in my analysis going forward, I'm going to choose to use 19.2 million because this is the most conservative. But if you think that's too aggressive, then you might choose one of these other numbers. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, I just want to reiterate, I guess, real quickly what I'm looking at as far as income is concerned in 2010. Total interest income about $41 million. The net interest income is about $31 million almost. Non-interest income almost $13 million. And then the core earnings I'm saying is $13.1 million. To get the net earnings, you would subtract the loan loss expense, and then you'd adjust for taxes. So again, there were three estimates of loan loss expense: 19.2, 16.9, or 10.8. So you would subtract any of those numbers, whichever number you want, from here. And let's see what that generates. Basically, we would come up with a range, and this is the range of net income after the loan loss expense and after the income tax effect. The most aggressive, where the bank would write off about $19 million in loans, would show a net income of $4.3 million. Actually, that's a loss of $4.3 million for the year. The middle case, which would be a loan loss of $16 million, would generate a net loss of about $2.7 million. And then in the case, finally, where the bank would lose about $11 million, would have that would generate a net income of about $2 million. So we've got a potential worst case scenario of a loss of about $4.3 million, $4.3 million, potential income of $2.1 million. That's what I'm guesstimating, the range of net income is. Now, based on that, what will that make the year-end balance sheet? And that's on the next slide. The year-end balance sheet for the bank is going to be one of these three columns. This is the conservative column, mid-range column, the optimistic. The conservative column is the column that shows the $19.2 million in loan loss. And when that happens, if that were to happen in that range, the bank would end up with a capital ratio of $8.5 million. But more importantly, I guess, looking at the capital, there would be preferred stock of $20.2 million, common stock of $56 million, and this compares, and I put in the year-end balance sheet for 2009 just as comparison. Now let's look at the optimistic, where there would actually be a gain. This is the net income that I've kind of put down at the bottom to sort of identify that. So this one is the case where we have $4.3 million net loss. The most optimistic case, where there's a $2.1 million gain, profit, we have common stock, then $65 million, and preferred stock of $2.2 million, and the capital ratio ends up being 9.4%. And again, this is compared to the year-end situation, year-end 2009. Those are my estimates as far as the year-end balance sheet's concerned. Oh, going the wrong way. And based on that, the one other thing to mention is that the bank will be having a capital infusion of $8 million, and that's going to affect these common stock levels, and will also affect the capital ratio. And that is, I'm going to look at that in the next set of slides, but this sheet, or this set of slides, assumes that there is no capital infusion, so that's sort of a baseline situation. So hope this was clear, and hope you stick around for the next set, which I will publish tomorrow. Have a great day.